She bullied the janitor's daughter over prom, biggest mistake of her life. The worst moment didn't happen during the crowning. It happened earlier, near the punch table, when everyone was already watching and pretending they weren't. Lena stood there holding a plastic cup she never drank from, knowing she should not have come. The gym lights were too bright. The music was too loud. And Madison Reed was already smiling in that way that meant something ugly was about to happen. Hello friends, before we start the story we would love to know where you're watching from. Tell us so we can give you a special hug in our next video. Like, comment and subscribe. Madison had owned the school since freshman year. Everyone knew it. She never said it out loud, but she didn't have to. Teachers gave her extra patience. Coaches ignored her late arrivals. Students adjusted their seats when she walked by. She was the kind of girl people laughed with even when the joke wasn't funny. Prom night was supposed to seal it. Photos. Senior legacy locked in. And then Lena showed up. Lena wasn't supposed to be there, at least not in Madison's world. She wasn't popular. She didn't play sports. She didn't hang around the front steps after school. Most people only knew her as the quiet girl who waited in the hall sometimes after classes ended. They also knew her dad. Mr. Harris had been the janitor at the school for over a decade. He emptied trash cans during football games. He mopped floors after pep rallies. He fixed broken sinks before first period. He nodded at people. Some nodded back. Most didn't. Lena grew up doing homework at the back of the cafeteria while her dad finished late shifts. She knew the building better than anyone. She also knew where she didn't belong. Prom felt like one of those places. She wore a plain blue dress that fit a little stiff around the shoulders. It wasn't ugly. It just didn't try hard. Her shoes were flat. Her hair was pulled back the way she always wore it for school. No curls. No glitter. No dramatic change. She walked in alone. That alone part was what caught attention first. Madison noticed right away. Her eyes did a quick scan, then locked in. A look passed between her and her friends. They leaned together, shoulders touching, mouths moving. Their laughter cut through the music, not loud enough to be obvious, but sharp enough to sting. Lena felt it before she understood it. That feeling you get when you know you're being looked at like a joke. She tried to blend into the crowd, but prom doesn't let you do that. Everything is open. Everything reflects light. Every move feels noticed. She reached the edge of the dance floor, hoping to find a quiet corner. That's when Madison stepped closer, not directly in front of her, but close enough. Madison's friends followed. They didn't block Lena. They didn't touch her. They didn't need to. They pointed. They laughed. They looked at her shoes. Someone glanced toward the exit, then back at Lena, then laughed harder. Someone else leaned over and said something that made Madison tilt her head and smile wider. People nearby started paying attention. A few kids pretended to check their phones. A few turned their backs. Nobody stepped in. Lena stood there for a second longer than she should have. Her face felt hot. Her hands tightened around the cup until the rim bent slightly. She realized staying was a mistake. She turned toward the doors. That's when Madison did something she had done 100 times before. She raised her voice just enough to carry. Heads turned. Lena's steps slowed. She kept walking anyway. Behind her, laughter followed. It wasn't the kind that explodes. It was the kind that drags, that lets everyone know exactly who it's about. By the exit, Lena felt like she had walked through the entire gym naked. She pushed the door open and stepped into the hallway, where the noise dropped instantly. Her chest felt tight. Not dramatic. Just uncomfortable, like holding a breath too long. Down the hall, Mr. Harris stood with a mop bucket, frozen mid-task. He had been cleaning near the entrance because Prom always left a mess. Glitter. Spilled drinks. Mud tracked in from outside. He had seen her walk in earlier. He had smiled. She hadn't noticed. Now he saw her leaving. Lena didn't run. She didn't cry loudly. She just kept her head down and walked past him. Mr. Harris watched her go. His grip tightened on the mop handle. He didn't call out. He didn't follow. He went back to work. Inside the gym, Madison was already over it. The moment had passed. Lena was gone. Prom rolled on. Music changed. Lights shifted. People danced again. Madison moved back to the center of the room where she belonged. She adjusted her dress. She checked her reflection in someone else's phone screen. Her friends crowded around her, feeding the energy she thrived on. This was her night. Nothing could touch her now. Or so she thought. The school principal tapped the microphone to get attention later that evening. People groaned at first, then quieted down when they realized it was part of the program. There was an announcement about a special guest. Someone important. An anonymous donor who had funded several recent upgrades to the school. New science lab equipment. Renovated locker rooms. A scholarship program that had been quietly helping students for years. Most students didn't care. Madison barely listened. She was focused on the upcoming vote count. She knew she had won. Everyone did. Still, she smiled politely. Cameras were everywhere. The principal mentioned that the donor had chosen to attend prom quietly, without attention. That part barely registered. Then the lights dimmed slightly. The DJ paused the music. A screen lowered from the ceiling near the stage. People shifted, confused. This wasn't on the schedule. Madison turned toward her friends, eyebrows raised. One of them shrugged. The screen flickered. At first, it looked like nothing. A hallway camera angle. Grainy. Slightly tilted. Then movement. A figure appeared near the punch table. A blue dress. Flat shoes. Lena. The room changed instantly. Murmurs spread. People leaned forward. Some laughed nervously, unsure what they were supposed to be seeing. Then Madison appeared on screen. Clear as day. Her posture. Her hair. Her smile. The angle caught everything. The pointing. The laughing. The looks exchanged. The raised voice. It wasn't edited. It wasn't dramatic. It was just real. Someone near the front covered their mouth. Another person shook their head slowly. Madison felt something shift in her stomach. Not panic yet. More like confusion mixed with irritation. Why was this playing? Who allowed this? She glanced around, expecting someone to stop it. Nobody did. The footage continued until Lena turned and walked away. The screen went black. The silence that followed wasn't heavy. It was awkward. Uncomfortable. The kind people don't know how to fill. The principal stepped back up to the microphone. His face looked different now. Tighter. He spoke calmly, but his voice carried. He explained that the donor had asked for one thing. Accountability. The donor believed character mattered more than grades, popularity, or appearances. Madison felt her cheeks burn. She laughed lightly, looking around, trying to play it off. A few people avoided her eyes. Then Mr. Harris walked onto the stage. He wasn't in his work gloves anymore. His shirt was clean. His posture straight. People stared. Some students recognized him immediately. Others took a second. The principal introduced him by his full name. Then came the part no one expected. The cleaning company. The contracts. The schools serviced across the county. The years of quiet investment. The scholarships. Mr. Harris wasn't just the janitor. He never had been. He chose the job at this school because it kept him close to his daughter. Because it kept her grounded. Because it reminded both of them where they came from. Madison's smile disappeared completely. Her friends stepped back without thinking. Mr. Harris didn't look at Madison. He didn't need to. His eyes found Lena at the side of the room, where she had returned quietly after cleaning up in the restroom. She stood there, unsure why everyone was staring at her now. The principal announced the scholarship recipient for the upcoming year. Lena's name filled the gym. Applause started slow, then built. Not polite clapping. Real clapping. Lena didn't move right away. Someone nudged her gently. She looked toward her father. He nodded. She walked forward. Madison stayed where she was. The crown ceremony never happened the way it was supposed to. The vote was voided. An investigation was mentioned. Prior complaints resurfaced. Things that had been brushed aside before suddenly mattered. Madison heard none of it clearly. The room felt farther away than it ever had. As Lena stood beside her father, hands shaking slightly, the applause continued. This wasn't a movie moment. There was no music swell. No dramatic speech. Just a gym full of people realizing something important too late. Prom ended early that night. Some left quietly. Some cried in the parking lot. Some pretended it wasn't a big deal. Madison went home without saying much to anyone. The crown she had imagined all year never touched her head. And the girl she thought didn't belong had just walked out with something that would last far longer than a title. By Monday morning, the school didn't feel the same. It wasn't loud about it. No assemblies. No big speeches. Just a shift in how people moved through the halls. Conversations stopped when certain people walked by. Phones stayed out longer than usual. Everyone had seen the video by now, even the parts that hadn't played on the big screen. Madison didn't come in that day. Most people noticed. Some pretended not to. Lena arrived early, like she always did. Habit. Her dad still worked mornings and she still rode with him. That part of life hadn't changed overnight, even if everything else felt different. She stepped into the building and immediately felt eyes on her. Not the mocking kind from prom night. Something else. Curiosity. Guilt. Awkward respect. A few smiles that didn't know how to land. Someone held the door open for her. That had never happened before. She nodded and kept walking. At her locker, she struggled with the combination. Her hands were shaky. Not excited shaky. Just overwhelmed. The kind that comes from too many thoughts stacking up at once. A girl from her math class approached slowly, like she wasn't sure if she was allowed to. She said Lena's name. Lena looked up. The girl said she was sorry. For prom. For everything. She talked too fast. Her face turned red. Then she walked away before Lena could respond. That happened 3 more times before first period. By the time the bell rang, Lena felt exhausted. In class, the teacher stumbled over attendance when she reached Madison's name. Moved on. A few kids glanced at the empty seat. Someone whispered something. Someone else shushed them. Lena kept her eyes on her notebook. She didn't feel proud. She didn't feel victorious. Mostly, she felt uncomfortable being the center of something she never asked for. At lunch, things got worse. The cafeteria buzzed louder than usual. People crowded around tables with their phones out, replaying clips, zooming in, narrating moments like commentators. Lena stood in line holding her tray, wishing she could disappear into the floor. Madison's table sat empty. That alone felt strange. Normally, it was the loudest table in the room. The one people angled toward. The one everyone noticed. Now it was just chairs. Lena sat at her usual spot near the back, next to a girl named Erin she'd known since middle school. Erin didn't talk much. Neither did Lena. They had always been comfortable with that. Today, Erin spoke. She said it was messed up what happened. She said she didn't know it was that bad. She said Madison had always been mean, but she never thought it would blow up like this. Lena nodded. Erin asked if Lena was okay. Lena thought about it for a second, then shrugged. That was the most honest answer she had. After school, Mr. Harris waited by the exit like he always did. Mop bucket beside him. Same routine. Lena walked toward him, slower than usual. People moved out of their way. That part felt wrong. They left together. No words exchanged until they were outside. Then Lena asked him why he never told her. He didn't answer right away. He unlocked the car. Put the bucket in the trunk. He said he didn't want her growing up thinking money made her better than anyone else. He said he wanted her to see people. Really see them. How they treated others when no one was watching. He said he was sorry she had to learn it that way. Lena stared out the window on the drive home. She didn't say much. Neither did he. The next day, Madison came back. Everyone felt it the moment she walked in. Her posture was different. Still straight, but tighter. Her clothes were the same kind she always wore, but they didn't land the same way. People watched her like they were waiting for something. She walked past Lena in the hall without stopping. That hurt more than Lena expected. Not because she wanted an apology. Just because it confirmed something she already knew. Madison still didn't see her as worth acknowledging. By third period, rumors started spreading about what would happen next. Suspension. Removal from student council. Colleges calling. Parents threatening lawsuits. None of it confirmed. All of it loud. In the principal's office, meetings happened behind closed doors. Madison went in once, came out with red eyes and clenched fists. Her friends didn't sit with her at lunch. Not all of them avoided her on purpose. Some just didn't know what to say. Others didn't want to be associated anymore. Popularity, it turned out, didn't come with loyalty. By the end of the week, an announcement came over the intercom. Careful, Vig. Madison Reed was removed from all leadership roles effective immediately. Further disciplinary action would follow. No name calling. No explanation. Everyone knew. Madison left early that day. Lena stayed. That weekend, Lena received an email about the scholarship details. Tuition coverage. Housing support. Mentorship opportunities. It felt unreal reading it. She printed it out anyway. On Monday, her English teacher asked her to stay after class. The teacher said she admired Lena's strength. She said she wished she had intervened sooner. She said adults fail sometimes. Lena nodded, unsure what to say. The teacher asked if Lena wanted to speak at the next assembly. About kindness. About bullying. Lena said no. The teacher looked surprised but respected it. That was the thing no one seemed to understand. Lena didn't want a platform. She just wanted normal back. But normal was gone. Madison stopped coming to school regularly after that. When she did show up, she kept her head down. No makeup. No loud laughter. Just in and out. Once, Lena saw her sitting alone on the steps outside, staring at her phone without scrolling. For a brief second, their eyes met. Madison looked away first. The suspension came quietly. 2 weeks. Then community service. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Lena heard Madison was assigned cleanup duty at a community center across town. No one laughed out loud about it. But people talked. Lena didn't. One afternoon, Lena stayed late to help her dad finish a job. A spill in the gym. Leftover glitter still clinging to the corners. Prom glitter. She swept it into a dustpan while he wiped the floor. She thought about how one night had changed so much. She thought about how quickly people decided who mattered. She asked her dad if he ever regretted not saying something sooner. Not stepping in at prom. He said no. He said people reveal themselves when they think no one important is watching. He said that night did exactly what it needed to do. A few weeks later, graduation approached. Madison was there. She walked across the stage like everyone else. No special applause. No boos. Just polite clapping. Lena clapped too. Not out of forgiveness. Just because it felt like the right thing. After the ceremony, Madison approached Lena in the parking lot. No friends. No audience. She said Lena's name quietly. Lena turned. Madison said she was sorry. Not perfectly. Not smoothly. Her words stumbled. Her voice shook. She didn't ask for forgiveness. She didn't explain herself. She just said she was wrong. Lena listened. Then she nodded. That was it. They went their separate ways. Years later, Lena would still remember that night. Not because of the humiliation. Not because of the applause. But because it showed her how fast things can flip when truth walks into the room. And how the people who clean up after everyone else often see the mess long before anyone cares to notice. The summer after graduation didn't slow things down the way Lena expected. She thought once school ended, the story would fade. New things would replace it. College prep. Just normal life stuff. Instead, the moment followed her in small, quiet ways. People recognized her at the grocery store. A woman from church stopped her to say she was proud of her. Someone tagged her in a post online about standing tall. Lena didn't repost it. She didn't comment. She muted most of it. Attention still made her uneasy. The scholarship paperwork came through in waves. Forms. Calls. Emails. Each one felt heavy in a different way. Not stressful, just real. This wasn't a headline anymore. This was her future. She was going out of state. A good school. One she never thought she'd afford. Mr. Harris helped her pack boxes in the evenings after work. He still worked. Same hours. Same routes. Same quiet routine. People had asked him why he didn't quit. He always gave the same answer. He liked the work. He liked being useful. And he liked knowing exactly who he was, no matter what anyone else thought. One afternoon in July, Lena ran into Madison again. It happened at a gas station off the highway. Middle of the day. No one dressed up. No audience. Lena was walking out with a bottle of water when she saw Madison by the pump. Hair pulled back. Plain t-shirt. Jeans. No phone in her hand. They noticed each other at the same time. For a second, neither moved. Madison broke the pause by nodding. "Well, careful." Lena nodded back. That was it. No awkward conversation. No apology round two. No dramatic moment. Just two people acknowledging the past without reopening it. As Lena drove away, she realized something important. Madison no longer had power over her emotions. Not because Madison had changed, but because Lena had. College orientation was overwhelming in the way only new beginnings can be. Too many faces. Too many names. Too many chances to pretend to be someone else. Lena didn't. She introduced herself plainly. She listened more than she talked. She sat in the back at first, then closer to the middle as days passed. No one knew her story unless she chose to tell it. She liked that. One night, during a dorm meeting, someone complained about the cleaning staff not emptying trash bins on time. The tone wasn't angry, just dismissive. Lena felt something twist in her chest. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't lecture. She just said those jobs mattered. That people noticed more than they realized. That it wasn't hard to be decent. The room went quiet for a moment. Then someone nodded. Then the meeting moved on. That was enough. Back home, Mr. Harris received a letter from the school district thanking him again for his contributions. They asked if he wanted a plaque. A public ceremony. His name on a wall. He declined. Instead, he asked them to put the funds toward expanding the scholarship program. Quiet work. Same as always. The old high school moved on too. New prom. New seniors. New popular kids. But something stuck. Teachers intervened sooner. Students spoke up more often. The idea that status made someone untouchable lost some of its grip. Not completely. Never completely. But enough to matter. Lena came home for winter break and visited the school once. She walked the halls with her dad after hours. Same floors. Same lockers. Different feeling. She stood by the gym doors for a moment. The memory was still there, but it didn't sting anymore. It felt distant. Like something she survived rather than something that defined her. As they left, her dad turned off the lights behind them. Outside, the air was cold and clear. Lena asked him if he ever worried about being judged for choosing that job when he didn't have to. He smiled, not amused, just calm. He said people judge no matter what. The only real choice is whether you live in a way you respect. Years passed. Lena graduated college. She got a job. She built a life that didn't rely on proving anything to anyone. She volunteered sometimes. Quietly. No announcements. She still hated attention. She still preferred simple things. And every now and then she thought about prom night. Not with anger. Not with pride. Just as a reminder. That kindness shows up when it's inconvenient. That titles disappear faster than people think. And that the people everyone overlooks often carry the most weight when it matters. Madison's crown never existed outside that night. Lena's future did. And that made all the difference. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more.